25 minutes before 11 o'clock, and Joe Reichel is here. He's here to answer your questions about your situation. Maybe a tree fell on your house. I hope not, but maybe something fell down. Or maybe you want something new. He's here to help talk to you about fixing that, restoring that, perhaps asking him to get his guys to do it for you, or perhaps give you a tip or two on some do-it-yourself projects you've got going. The phone number right now is 622-9622. Joe Reichel, of course, some damage control services. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning. Yeah, fires, floods, storm, tree damage. We do it all. Insurance related.
Oh, and by the way, the other day I went to one of your projects for the first time.
Okay.
It's a long time ago. It's the Sunoco station just north of Denellen.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Be Quick.
Yeah. Is that what it's called?
Yep. The Be Quick station. Yeah, that was a fire. Fire struck that building, complete burn. Then we worked with the homeowner and his family in order to figure out exactly what they wanted. That was a really nice project. It was one of those stores that we took the original footprint and changed it around to what they wanted. And one of the things that he wanted in that had to have was the beer cave. And
yeah.
He wanted to be able to say that he had the coldest beer in the area, and so we designed that with the architect in order to get him what he wanted, maneuvering everything around, and then worked with him to build that store. And that was a really good project, a fun project for us as a commercial project. Going, even though it was a fire, that's pretty much new construction, because we did basically a demolition of everything there and then started over.
Do you know where Chambrel is, the assisted living facility? Yep. It looks like they're building something else on that property, and it looks like all the beams, like the beams here, are complete. Is it aluminum or steel? What are they?
Steel.
Steel. Okay. So is that more likely or less likely to catch fire then, or does the drywall still play a big role?
Well, you've got steel studs. Everything in a building is combustible. I mean, for the most part. So all kinds of things can happen, and fire can strike, and it is less likely to have a complete burn with using steel stud structure. However, you're still going to have things that can burn and combustible things within a building. So
yeah, I was wondering why they were using the metal rather than the wood, and then I remembered, well, you guys used the metal here too.
Yeah, this building here is metal studs. A lot of your commercial projects are metal studs, but typically you'll still have a wood truss system. Not here, but there's still wood in in a lot.
And the reason we don't have one is
so.
because there was a roof
because
here
of
already.
the style of roof that's here. This is a different style roof. But typically, if it's whatever you're building, you'll still have a wood, and that's that. Even like the Be Quick that you're talking about, a lot of the only interior walls that are there, very few of them, but you still have a wood structure, truss system on the roof. So.
Which, by the way, because of you guys, we now have the best-looking door in the Paddock Mall.
Yeah, we last week the guys put one of the doors in, and I guess we got one more to go, and then that'll be done. So.
And it looks wood, but it's metal, isn't it?
That's
because I saw your card stuck to it. Your magnetic
business card. Yeah. the magnet. Yeah.
and in fact, the day after I told you that I saw it outside on the bench here, it was gone.
Is that where you see it? Is on the bench?
That's where I used to see it. Is that not where you put it?
Yeah. Okay. I stick them there too.
Yeah. But they're gone now. Somebody takes them.
Yeah. They probably don't like me leaving them there, but I keep wondering if it'll stick to that horse out there.
Well,
I wonder
that looks like it's brass, doesn't it?
Yeah. Does a magnet stick to brass?
I don't know.
I don't either. That's why I keep looking at it. Thinking,
I don't know.
Right there on the hind quarter of that horse would be a good spot for a magnet.
One of the trivia questions we had one day, and this got nothing to do with anything, but is that the ink in currency, U.S. currency, is magnetic.
Really?
Well, I can't stick $1 to a metal wall or anything. I don't know what it means.
I don't know.
So I don't know. Have to look it up. It might have been one of those fake facts.
Fact or fake.
Yeah. The phone line is open if you're involved in a project and you would perhaps benefit from a little bit of do-it-yourself advice. This is a good time to call Joe Reichel at 622-9622, or maybe it's too big for you, or maybe your husband started it, or your wife could be. and they're just not going in the right direction.
Yeah, we've got a project right now that homeowners decided they had some water damage, unfortunately not covered by insurance, and we're taking up all of their laminate flooring and they're putting a wood-looking tile down. So that's a project we're working on right now. Yep, it was a fix-up project. And then we got a renovation of a horse farm out west of Ocala that we're working on, and that's a rather extensive project. These people bought the house, beautiful home as it is, and decide they want to put their touch to it. So pretty much about 80% of the interior of the house is getting changed around.
So if you were doing your own tiling on your floor, this is a do-it-yourself question.
Okay.
And obviously, the perfectly square tile is only going to cover certain parts. You're going to have round edges around the toilet. You're going to have small pieces. How do you cut? Everybody's going to say, "Come on, Larry, you don't know how to cut tile," but I honestly don't. Is there a special tool?
There is. There are several different tools that you can use. One is a dry, has a diamond wheel, and it's a dry snap kind of you run this diamond wheel across it with a handle and put pressure and it snaps it. They also have a wet saw that you can use that is a diamond blade, and water runs on the blade to keep the moisture away. And a lot of people use a grinder, like a 4-inch grinder with a diamond wheel on it, and you can cut the tile using the diamond
the size
blade.
You need.
Yeah, whatever size that you need it. So, really, there's a lot of different.
Because even the ceiling tiles, is that what they called here? What do you call this?
This is a drop ceiling in here.
But I mean, look at the little tiny triangle. Unless that doesn't go across to the other side of the wall, does it?
Nope.
No.
That stops right there.
So somebody knew how to cut that perfectly.
Right.
Did you guys do that too?
Not in here. However, we do know how to do that. Yeah.
So is that a different type of a saw?
Well, these are.
And how do you get the exact measurement? Just measure it?
Yeah, pretty much you just measure it. And there are some techniques that you can use, especially for tile, as far as to get the proper measurements and make sure that you're right, and how you do that. Hello, Arlene.
Oh, she blew.
I think that's the first kiss I've been blown.
Wow.
Awesome.
Look at that.
A friend of mine. So, as far as, it's just a matter of, each and every trade has their, techniques and tricks of the trade.
Which is why we hire specialists, don't we?
That's exactly it. And that's a lot of times, I mean, for example, doing tile. I know how to lay tile. It's not something I do all the time.
Yeah.
But I feel proficient at doing it. Ceiling grid and putting in ceiling tiles like this, I've done it a few times. I would probably hire someone to do it rather than doing it myself, just because they know what they're doing.
Well, it was a learning experience for me, watching, and then I actually did a couple of the wires that hold up that grid with what did we use? Like some kind of a rod or something, and then we twisted it. It was Joe Martone taught me how to do that.
Right.
I think I did 2 of them.
Well, you can say you helped.
Yeah.
And that's we talk about these do-it-yourself projects, and that's where even like a demolition. A lot of times in projects that we have and working on, homeowners say, "Hey, I want to do some of it," and that's great. We never really discourage a homeowner from doing it. However, I was talking to a lady the other day, and she was going to demo her bathroom, take all the tile down, so that new tile could be put up. And
right.
She called me halfway through and said, "This was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be."
Oh no!
And that's what I kind of tried. I tried to help her to see that going into it.
Right.
Not only is it harder, I mean, yeah, you're busting tile off the wall, and and I went the next day, and she has a bathtub full of tile. So you make this mess, you get it all off the wall, and then you've got to clean it up.
Yeah, right.
So,
And that's not light.
no, it gets heavy.
We busted it apart here. In the
a
old,
lot of flooring in here that came up, the old store that was here.
and the wall. There was a wall of tile, like right about where that door is now.
Right.
And we smacked it with a sledgehammer. And when it fell down, picking it up
Yeah.
was very heavy. It was a very heavy piece of wall.
And there's a lot of dust involved, and people don't realize that, and that's where whenever we come in to take care of a project, one of the projects that we've got going right now, we've got to create a barrier from the rest of the building.
Right. Yeah.
No matter what it is, if we're dealing with mold or just regular demolition to keep the dust from going to the rest of the building, we'll create a barrier,
Right.
which a temporary wall of some sort, and go from there so that we don't let that dust or dust particles or mold particles or anything else go into the contaminate the rest of the building.
By the way, just if I could just throw in a side thing here.
There's side things.
Well, we do videos of these shows.
Okay.
Do you know which show of yours is your most popular show with, I can't remember how many hits, but lots of hits?
Lots. I don't.
It's the gentleman you brought in here from, was it Scott Plummer, the guy with the orange shirt?
Sean Scott.
Sean Scott, thank you.
Sean Scott, one of the
Yes.
owners of Mike Scott Plumbing.
Yep, that one is a very, very popular video. If you look at the numbers on that one, it's up there.
Probably because of him. He's a rather handsome fellow.
Well, no, I think he was making faces like during the course of the interview.
He is a fun guy. We have a lot of fun every time we're together. So
A fun guy is more than one fungus, by the way.
right.
Let me.
And he had a nice looking shirt on that day. There are pictures. I think Dan and him were wearing the same color shirt, and if I'd have known it was an orange day, I would have worn my orange shirt.
That's kind of funny. The phone number here, if you have something you'd like to ask Joe or make a comment about, the number is 622-9622. Again, if you have a do-it-yourself project, you might want to get a tip or two on how to get it done, or maybe a piece of equipment that you need to buy.
That's one of that's one of the things. You talk about Sean Scott, and we work with lots of different trades and individuals that are professionals in their field, and if we need help or a project that we're working on, we are always working with other people and making sure that we're getting it done right. We've got, as a matter of fact, we got a project right now that they're working on. Mike Scott Plumbing is for us. So,
talking about the equipment that you need to do a project, sometimes if the do-it-yourselfer finds out, I need this thing, for example, to cut the tile.
right.
You might go to a big box store, Lowe's or whatever, and find like the cheap version of it. Like you might find one for $600 and you might find one for $80.
Right.
So you buy the $80 one and you're nothing but disappointed.
Well, and are you going to be disappointed because it'll probably do what you need for a one-time project or if you're not going to be using it a lot. And that's why a lot of times people, there are stores out there that you can buy cheaper tools or less expensive tools, and they're going to suit your purpose.
For one time, maybe?
Yeah, for a limited amount.
Yeah. Well,
It's not going to be a tool that if something happens to it, you can go get fixed. And that's, in today's society, a lot of times they're basically a throwaway tool. You use it till till it breaks, and then you go get another one.
Yeah.
So you always, just like anything else, you'll get out of it what you put into it. So the better quality, it's going to perform better. It's going to be easier to use. It's going to have more features to it, more functionality.
There's something I want to ask you about that I don't think we've talked about before. When you put up siding, like vinyl siding on a house, do you have to take down the stucco? Do you have to remove that first, or do you just put it right over that stuff?
If you're going vinyl over stucco, you would have to, more than likely, you've got to make sure that you can fasten it off. I guess you could Tapcon going into... You can use a Tapcon, which is a concrete screw. Okay. A screw that goes into concrete.
Okay, yeah. I was going to ask what it was.
Yeah. You could do that. That would be rather laborious. Probably you'd be best off stripping the building with furring strips, which would be a
Okay.
pressure-treated lumber, stripping it with that, and then applying the siding to the
strips.
To the strips.
Okay,
yeah.
but you don't have to take the stucco off.
No, you wouldn't have to take stucco off.
Okay.
Typically, you wouldn't really go over stucco with a siding, though.
Oh, really?
A vinyl siding, no.
And you do have a phone call. Good morning. You're on the air with Joe Reichel.
Good morning, Joe Reichel. Hey, I got a building, and it's got part of it. It's got somebody added on, and it's got a leak, and it's a flat top. And I was wondering if you or anybody, if you knew of somebody that works on that type of stuff. I need to do something, to try to get it, repaired. I'll hang up and listen to you off the air.
Yeah, great. I had to turn you up there so I could hear you, make sure I heard everything. Now I got to turn myself back down. I'm blowing myself out here. Great question. Thanks for the call. There's two different companies that we use for flat roofing repairs like that. One of them is Big D Roofing, and the other is A Plus All Roofing. So Donnie Stouse with Big D Roofing, you can call there and tell them your situation. They'd be able to give you an estimate. So that's either Big D Roofing or Wade Tackett with A Plus All Roofing. Those are the two that we use. So either one of them, if you told them that Damage Control referred you, Joe with Damage Control, or just Damage Control, they'd be able to take good care of you. Okay. So I hope that answers your question. And if you need further help, you can call me at any time.
Okay. And we'll give you a number at the end of the show. Good morning. You're on the air with Joe Reichel.
Hi, good morning, Joe.
Good morning.
Say, Big D lives in our subdivision. He does a wonderful job. I had needed a roof here about 5 years back. I called for several estimates. He had the best one, and they did a job and a half. I was so very happy with it, and I highly recommend his roofing service anytime you can get a hold of him.
Very good. Thank you.
The question I had today was, over the weekend I got in touch. I got a phone call from a good friend of mine living back up in Wisconsin, and of course everybody knows the North has had a winter and a half up there, and he was using his fireplace more than any other time. He says since he's lived in the house for 15 years, and he had the chimney cleaned out after last year. And son of a gun, if he didn't have a chimney fire here about 2 or 3 weeks back, he's had a lot of smoke in the family room where the fireplace is located, and smoke throughout the house, probably in the carpeting, draperies, and whatnot. He's attempting to clean up that mess himself, the smell. Do you think he'll have success doing that, or do you need really to go to a professional person to help get rid of the smoke?
That's a great question. It's really hard to tell because each and every fire has its own individuality. I've been to some fires where you can smell them, you're outside of the house or just walking up to it and you can smell it. I've also been to one recently that there was really no odor at all in the house. And I've been to one, no odor, no smoke damage, but pictures of the damage were pretty bad as far as the fire. And then we've got one that we're working on right now, which is a fire. Basically, it is an odor job versus a fire. There's evidence of heat, smoke damage, or fire damage on the stove, where the cooking fire took place, and the microwave above it. But other than that, there's no smoke damage anywhere in the house, which is very rare for a cooking fire. However, there is odor damage, and you can smell it outside the house. So, with that job, for example, we've had to send off all of the textiles in the building or in the home. We use a company called CRDN They come in, and it's a company that comes in. They do a dry cleaning, restoration dry cleaning, basically. And they take all of the textiles and clean them, because no matter what you do with clothing, typical homeowner is not going to be able to get the odor out of it. Even dry cleaning is not going to get rid of that odor. You have to have a special technique done in order to get rid of smoke odor in clothing. So they'll take everything, excuse me, and do their dry cleaning to it, and then bring it back when the home's done. There's several different techniques to get rid of odor. Hydroxyl technology is one. There's also one that's very popular, a lot of people use, is called ozone technology. And basically you're using a machine to do a fog in order to kill any of the odor molecules that are there.
And you have another phone call. Good morning. You're on the air with Joe.
Hey, this is Bruce. Listen, I'll tell you one thing. Two people smoking in your apartments and continually smoking cigarettes. When I got into the apartment to clean it up, you wouldn't believe it. It left a yellow coat all over everything. We had to take and paint the place from top to ceiling at the bottom, clean the carpet, and we still couldn't hardly get rid of the smoke. So cigarette smoke's really hard to get rid of. We did have professionals and everybody else give us a spray, special spray stuff and different things to use to. But I tell you, these people who smoke cigarettes, they can really ruin a house. Do you all have any information on that?
That's a great question. There are some things that can be used in order to get rid of cigarette smoke odor. It is a very, very hard odor to get rid of, one of the hardest actually, and we've used, like I said, one of the techniques that we've used is the hydroxyl technology, and basically that's to kill all of the odor molecules. Anywhere that odor can go, it will get into. So that's the carpets. It'll go into the drywall. A lot of times that's why they paint and seal, but that nicotine will yellow just about everything in a home, and surprisingly everything. So
I think that might be the first landlord-tenant question you had. It sounds like he had homes up where he was renting, and the tenants were the problem.
That's we run across that a lot as far as people trying to clean up situations like that. And there's always, we just got some new products out delivered to us, and it's a spray chemical, deodorization, and it will get rid of any type of odor. So it's a good product to use too, airborne odors.
And some cover up and some actually eliminate odors.
And that's what a lot of times you've got to use a combination of things in order to get rid of it too.
I know we're almost out of time, but is what do you call it? Baking soda, is that effective?
Of course. I mean, that's one of the age-old things that, people use that to get rid of odors, but it's only going to do so much whenever you've got a whole house situation.
All right. Joe, what is your phone number?
My phone number is 352-817-6574, or you can email me, joe@damageflorida.com, with any of your questions or if we can ever do any help and be of assistance to you.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for coming in here and answering our questions, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
All right, hang in there. We've got Fox News coming up. We're a new Fox affiliate, by the way.
Awesome.
And we've got Fox News now at the top and the bottom of the hour.
Adam.
And people who know Joe outside the window. We will take a little break, go to Fox News, and then we'll be back with our next guest. We'll take a little break and do that in just a bit.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. The administration says a last-minute rush to sign up for health insurance could put the government on track to have more than 7 million Americans enrolled. Fox's Ed Henry pointing out.
The definition between signing up and enrolling, you could just sign up, do the paperwork, go online, or call in, but did you actually pay your premiums and technically enroll? If there's 7 million signups, there's one study suggesting about 80% of people have actually paid their premiums.
That would fall short of the goal the Health and Human Services